80% of chronic pain is misdiagnosed. This stat is from Dr. John Sarno. What if everything you knew about pain was completely wrong? For years, we've been told that chronic pain is from injury or from aging or maybe from genetics. What if pain actually came from something much deeper and it was here to signal that there were things in our lives that we needed to address? This is the mind-body connection. Stay with me here because by the end of this video, you will never see pain the same way. And be sure to hit that subscribe button. We post new videos every single week about living your best life. Welcome to Good Mood Revolution. Hey, I'm Matt O'Neill, host of Good Mood Revolution show and author of Good Mood Revolution, Igniting the Power of Conscious Happiness. And I have suffered from chronic back pain and I've cured it, but not from the ways that medicine or chiropractic or even physical therapy had told me to do. I tried all those things and they didn't work. We're going to talk today about the real cause of pain and how you can alleviate pain in your body. Man, when I was 30, I had severe back pain and it lasted from 30 to about 35. So for 5 years, this back pain would come on. And it would be so bad, I'd have trouble walking. I saw the chiropractor. I saw the acupuncturist. I saw the physical therapist. I laid on my back and pulled my knees to my chest every single morning. I did all these stretches. I worked on yoga. None of that stuff worked. I thought my back pain had to do with injury. I thought, well, I play a lot of basketball. I've been running. Maybe I've just abused my body. Maybe it was from that car wreck when I was 16 and my back just isn't quite right. Well, my back pain got so bad that I had to go see the doctor. I just wanted him to cut me. I wanted him to operate. And he says, all right, we need to send you in for an MRI. The MRI comes back and it shows disc degeneration. But he looks at me and he says, this is just normal disc degeneration. I think you're going to need to look at some alternative healing methods. And I said, Doc, I've been doing all the alternative healing methods. Like, you can't cut me. What can I do about this? And he said, all right, I'm going to give you a prescription for physical therapy. I'd already been to physical therapy. I didn't have high hopes, but I went and saw a special physical therapist. She recommended a book, and the book was called Healing Back Pain by Dr. John Sarno. And that book completely changed my life. Dr. Sarno also created a documentary called All the Rage, Saved by Sarno. What the documentary says and what the book said was that your back pain typically is not from an injury. It was emotions, specifically the emotion of anger. I'm not an angry guy. I didn't think I was an angry guy. I didn't think I had an issue with suppressed emotions. But as I'm reading this book, and he's saying your back pain is most likely because you've been suppressing anger. And it typically shows up in people that are in the age of responsibility, he calls it, where you start to you got a wife, you've got a job, you might have some kids. There's so many things to take care of. And you kind of get angry that you've lost all your freedom. And I'm like, I'm not angry I've lost my freedom. I love my kids. I love my wife. I love my job. That's exactly what he said in the book. He said, you love your kids, you love your wife, and you love your job, but they've taken away your freedom. And there's a part of you that is angry that you've lost your freedom. And because you don't think it's appropriate to be angry about these things, you're punishing yourself by creating back pain. And what you're doing is you're constricting the blood vessels in your back, and it's creating a tremendous amount of pain for you that is real. The pain is actually real. And the constricted muscles in your back are actually causing damage to your vertebrae. You're harming yourself, but you're punishing yourself for anger that you don't think you deserve. You don't think you should be angry. And so you're harming yourself with this pain. What he found was that there were people with misaligned backs who had bulging discs that had no pain. And then there were 80% of his patients with pain were like me, had normal looking MRIs, but they just said they had terrible back pain, just like me. His prescription was to deal with the emotions. And he said, if you can, one, just know your emotions are creating your pain, and then two, learn how to process these emotions in a healthy way and get them to get out of your body and through so that you can be clear of all this emotional baggage, your pain will 100% go away. That's exactly what I did, and my pain 100% went away. I'm 44 years old now, and I am pain-free in my back. I have been for the last 9 years. It's like a miracle, but it wasn't from any treatment. It was strictly from emotional processing, and we're going to talk about how to do that at the end of this video. I recently interviewed Dr. Jeffrey Rediger on Good Mood Revolution podcast. Dr. Rediger was on Oprah Winfrey's show. He was on Dr. Oz many times. He wrote a book called Cured, and he has devoted his life to studying people who were given terminal diagnoses and that somehow spontaneously cured themselves. They call it spontaneous remission. And he was just fascinated. He said, what are these people doing different that are curing themselves from the incurable? And he spent the last 17 years of his life interviewing people who have spontaneously healed themselves when doctors said that they couldn't, to see where are the links, what are the commonalities. Well, Dr. Sarno, who wrote the book Healing Back Pain, wrote another book called Mind-Body Connection. And it was his hypothesis that not just 80% of back pain was caused by emotions, but 80% of all disease was caused by emotions. I don't want to minimize this. If you're in pain right now, your pain is real. My back pain was real. If you're going through some type of hardship, disease, something that's really scary, like it's real and it really can kill you and take your life. But the cause could be emotions. And Dr. Rediger's work found the people that spontaneously healed, yes, one, they changed their diet to mostly plants. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them changed to a mostly nutrient-dense plant-based diet. But the ones who healed themselves, more than likely, or most of the time, they changed their lifestyle completely. They stopped hanging out with people that made them feel bad. They started hanging out with people that made them feel good. They quit jobs that were crazy stressful, that didn't bring them joy. They started to live a life authentic to what they wanted. One of the patients that cured said, love healed me. I got healed by love. I started to do things I love. I started to spend time with people I loved. I started to live a life I loved. And miraculously, a tumor that was taking his life shrank down to nothing. So this is the mind-body connection. And Dr. Rediger and Dr. Sarno have a lot of evidence that show us that what's going on in our minds directs what's going on in our bodies. Specifically, Dr. Rediger said the thing that is killing us is chronic stress. Well, we get stressed out not because of our job, not because of our kids, not because of a situation. It's because of the way we perceive our job or our kids or a situation. If we perceive things as really, really stressful or awful or bad, then they are. But if we perceive things with a lot of hope and optimism and positivity and love and kindness, guess what? That's what we get back to. So stress isn't created by external circumstances. It's created internally. And what we need to learn to be disease-free and pain-free is how to understand what our emotions are trying to tell us, process the negative emotions, and then live in really high states of high emotions. My book, Good Mood Revolution, Igniting the Power of Conscious Happiness, talks about how there's just 8 negative emotions. When we're living in those emotions, we have a life of high stress, which is the recipe, the petri dish of disease. But the second half of the book talks about the 8 positive emotions. When we're living in those positive emotions, our bodies are primed for the highest healing and the highest health and energy possible. There's water studies done by Hashimoto where they would hold a jar of water in their hands and they would say, I hate you, and then freeze the crystals and look at them under a microscope. And the crystals would look all sharded and broken and ugly and dirty. And then they'd hold a jar of water and they'd say, I love you. And those crystals would look beautiful, like beautiful snowflakes with all this harmony. Well, our body is made of 70% water. If we're holding in our body stress or anger or fear or hate or jealousy, that's going to create disharmony in our cells and the water in our body and the very blood vessels that we have. So that's going to create dis-ease. But if we're holding emotions in our body that are loving and peaceful and kind and joyful and enthusiastic and creative, it's going to create really beautiful blood vessels, really beautiful crystals of water in our bodies. And we're going to have a really high chance of being highly, highly healthy, pain free, and disease free. All right, there are 5 steps that you can take to have a higher vibration emotional energy and help to rid yourself of any chronic pain that you may be experiencing caused by emotions. Dr. Sarno's study showed that 80% of chronic pain was caused by emotional blockages. You might still be one of the 20% that actually is harmed, from something non-emotional. But yeah, of course, if I fall off a building and break my arm, it's not emotional. I actually broke my arm. I don't want to say that every single accident is created by emotions. Probably if the pain hasn't gone away and it's been more than 6 months, there's an emotional component to it that's keeping you stuck. So step 1, acknowledge that the pain has an emotional component. Instead of just asking, what's wrong with my body? Start to ask yourself, what are these negative emotions that could be holding me up? I've listed out the 8 negative emotions. If you want to get real in depth about how to get out of those 8 negative emotions, we talk about it on this channel. Just go back to some previous episodes or read the book, Good Mood Revolution. I start with a journal. I start with a pad of paper and a pen. And anytime I have any type of pain in my body, I feel the pain. Like, let's say I've got pain in my shoulder. What is this pain telling me? What could this pain be hung up on emotionally? Typically, a right shoulder, where a lot of us are right-handed. If I have right shoulder pain, it means I'm trying to carry too much. Like, imagine yourself leaving the grocery store and you're trying to carry like 6 bags of groceries and it's just too many and it's too heavy. Well, a lot of times our body will signal with right shoulder pain because we're trying to carry too much in our lives. And the pain isn't there to harm us. The pain is there to catch our attention. So if you have some pain in your body, are you trying to carry too much? Sometimes knee pain. If I have pain in my knee, I'll ask myself, these knees are a pivot point. I'll ask myself, where in my life do I need to pivot? Am I going down a path that needs to be changed? The knee pain could be signaling that it's time to pivot. A lot of times, if I have neck pain, I'm upset with somebody. Have you ever heard the expression pain in the neck? Or if you got pain in your butt cheeks, like lower sciatica, you ever heard the expression pain in the butt? Well, expressions are truisms. A lot of times we get upset with somebody and we actually have pain in our neck or pains in our butt. And it's because of the emotion of anger and upset at this person. So if you have neck pain or maybe pain in your low back, ask yourself, is there someone I'm upset with? And can I resolve it? Step 2, journal every day. If you're in chronic pain, step 1 was admit that this pain could have an emotional component. Step 2, every single morning, have your blank page and your pen and just start to journal. Just say, how could I be upset? And just start writing. What negative thoughts could be on my mind? And just start writing. There's a lot of research that shows that our emotions improve just by getting them on paper. Now, I have personal experience knowing that our emotions improve even more if we get the negative thoughts on paper and then we look at it in a different way and try to reframe that negative thought into a positive action. I did a whole video on journaling for mental health. Check out that video to see my exact journal process, but it's write down the negative thought, reframe it in some positive way, and then ask yourself, could I take any action to improve my situation? If you do that every single day, I promise your life will get better and your pain will probably subside. Step 3, start living a life that is authentic to what you want. I just bought the book, A Year to Live. And the premise of the book is, what if you knew you were going to die at the end of the year? How would you live your life? Try that exercise. Imagine that this is your very last year to live. And say, if this was my very last year to live, how would I live my life? What do I authentically want? Who do I want to hang out with? And what do I want to do with my short amount of time left? Once you start to live authentically to you, sometimes that pain was just a signal that you're living a life that's inauthentic to what you want. And when you start to live authentically to what you want, you might see that that pain subsides. Use mindfulness. Start to slow down. Mindfulness could be a meditation practice. It could be prayer. It could be breathing. It could be yoga. But a lot of us are going so fast, we're so frenetic in today's pace of world that we don't take time to just breathe and be. So a mindfulness practice was highly recommended by Dr. Jeffrey Rediger in his book Cured. And in our podcast episode, he talked about it quite a bit. And it definitely will help you get in tune with the mind-body connection and start to pay attention to the pain and what it's trying to tell you. And if once you start to listen to what that pain's trying to tell you, the pain will subside. Step 5, be grateful to your body. A lot of times we just expect our body to perform. I know I do. I'm like, body, I'm going to push you so hard in the gym. I'm going to go all day with coffee and I'm going to work super hard at work and I'm going to come home and take care of my family. And you better be on all day because I'm your master and I'm going to tell you to do that. Well, if we don't ever appreciate or respect our body, maybe our body will just break down so that we have to rest and recover. Have you considered that maybe your pain is your body telling you to pay a little bit of attention, to slow down and be grateful for the life energy that you do have? So step 5 is really about honoring your body. Say thank you to each body part because this body has been there for you your whole life. Don't just expect it to perform. Just like anything that you really, really appreciate your body. Appreciate that it's been there for you and it will start to respond to your gratitude. I want you to think about pain not just from like Newtonian cause and effect, not from I got injured or I'm aging or I have genetics. Start to think of the emotions beneath the pain. If you're in pain now, ask yourself, what could this pain be trying to tell me? Drop a comment below. Would love to hear your thoughts. Would love to hear what you're dealing with. I read every comment and respond to them. And if you want to feel your best every single week, be sure to hit subscribe because we post a new video every week. Thank you for watching Good Mood Revolution, and we'll see you on the next video.